It's becoming more clear Elon Musk's goal is not just to replace ride-hailing, but to replace personal transportation. Elon was interviewed by the All In podcast crew a few days ago, and he said the next generation inference chip in the cars, Tesla's AI5 chip, will be 40 times better than the ones in the new vehicles today. But don't worry, the cars we have now will be able to do self-driving. He said he's confident that the chips currently in the cars being sold today in the last few years will be able to achieve self-driving safety at least 2 to 3 times that of a human, maybe 10x. We've got data to show that transportation is the second largest cost for US households, and when Tesla gets autonomy going, it will drastically reduce this. Right now, Tesla's robotaxi and ride-hailing prices are a fraction of what Uber charges. But is this just temporary and just introductory pricing? We'll also take a look at Zoox that has just now started offering robotaxi rides to the public in Las Vegas. This is the first in the US for purpose-built robotaxi with no driver controls. We got Brian White joining us today. Brian is one of the best Tesla retail analysts. His YouTube channel, FutureAza, very incredible. He's one of the few that regularly travels the world and gets exclusive factory tours and interviews. Welcome, Brian.
Great to be here. I mean, this topic is a big one, and I don't know how many people have yet to even try to wrap their head around it. But if you're not paying attention to the autonomous space, I feel you're going to miss the boat.
But whether or not Tesla's pricing is just introductory, that's not what it's going to be at the end of the day. Don't get fooled by it. Be curious to see what you think. And then whether or not the cars we have now is going to be able to do self-driving and what's to come. So let's dive into it. And then also, is Elon's goal just to replace ride-hailing, or is it to really bring the price down so low that even car ownership would be affected, which he stated already, but people just don't believe this. So you've got Elon being interviewed by the All In podcast, and he said that the AI5 chips will be 40 times better than the ones we have now, the AI4 chips in some metrics. But he thinks that the AI4 is going to be enough for self-driving. So let's listen in to that video, or to the audio at least, of what he said.
In all vehicles, and we're finalizing the design of AI5, which will be an immense jump from AI4. By some metrics, the improvement in AI5 will be 40 times better than AI4.
Wow.
So not 40%, 40 times. And this is because we work so closely at a very fine-grained level on the AI software and the AI hardware. So we know exactly where the limiting factors are. And so effectively the AI hardware and software teams are co-designing the chip.
So a 40x improvement in the silicon, I think then as everybody here in the audience experiences it, is that just almost like an order of magnitude increase in the quality of FSD and the safety that you experience as a Tesla driver, and then the quality of the robot? Like, where does it all manifest when you bring it up and actually get it into production?
Yeah, to be precise, the 40x is on, if you say like compared to the worst limitation on AI4, which is running the softmax operation.
Yeah.
We currently have to run softmax in around 40 steps in emulation mode, whereas that'll just be done in a few steps natively in AI5. AI5 chip will also be easily handle mixed precision models, so you don't have it'll dynamically handle mixed precision. There's a bunch of sort of technical stuff that AI5 will do a lot better.
So AI5 is not going to come until next year, but the good news is AI4 is going to be 2 to 3 times human safety, maybe 10x. So it's that's very, very good news. And then whether or not AI3, the hardware 3 cars, don't know. It's I think it's looking unlikely that they'll just pare down the software so they can fit into the hardware 3 processing power. But I think what they'll just do is just upgrade everybody to hardware 4, or they'll just tell people who have hardware 3 cars, here's a great deal. Buy the new car. We'll give you a huge discount. I don't know if that's what they'll do, but what's your thoughts on his comments there?
So just to address that part real quick, they'll probably do both. There's so many hardware 3 cars out there. They'll say, look, we'll upgrade it if you have already purchased FSD, or if you choose to purchase FSD, but the line might get a little long. So how about we give you XYZ discount on the new one? You can do either one. It's your choice. But if you're looking for a reason to get the new car, here you go. in terms of, the people saying, well, if 5 is better and 6 is better and 7 is better, why would I buy it today? The answer is, when do you purchase a computer? You purchase a computer when you need a computer, because you need a computer. If you're going to wait for a better computer, now here's the reality. Computers are getting better every day, Herbert. Why don't you replace your computer every 6 months? Because it works.
Sometimes we do.
Well, maybe you do, but the vast majority do not, because my computer does everything I need it to do. If hardware 4 does everything I need it to do, I'm in but hardware 5 is better. Sure. And 6 and 7 and 8 and 20 and 50 and all that, it's going to be better. But I don't need a lot of the things necessarily that might come. I don't necessarily need it to be able to look out 8, 10 rungs of prediction out in all directions when it already works for my use case. So I'm not as concerned about that part of it. And then what other specific questions did you have?
Okay, so yeah, I agree with you, everything you said there. I mean, if Robotaxi today in Austin is going to use hardware 4, AI 4,
there you go.
That's your answer. AI 4 can do FSD 14. Now, the thing about FSD 14 was initially last month, he said it's going to come here. It's going to come the end of September. At this interview, he said it's going to be rolled out in the next few months. So I was like, oh, crap. Okay. So can't hold our breath here if FSD 14 comes. But at this point, everything we've heard is that AI 4 can handle FSD 14.
I saw a user yesterday on X who said, I just convinced my wife to test drive a Model Y. She loved it. I bought it for her. And now she's eyeballing the YL thinking, ooh, that'd be nice when it's available. And I said, sure, you gave her the moon, but have you seen how many moons Jupiter has? Come on. Amateur hour, one moon. Yeah. So there's always going to be the next bigger, better thing. I know people who live that way, and I know people the opposite. My buddy Charlie bought a Model Y on the eve of Juniper, knowing, no, this is the car I actually want. I want the existing one. I don't need the fancy, and all these incentives line up for me the way I need them to for this to work. And I asked him a month later, how you feel? And he goes, love it. Best decision I ever made.
All right. So, the point I'm trying to make here today is that FSD 14 is supposed to come. Let's say it does take multiple months. That's fine. Then you've got AI 4, the cars that are being sold today. At this point, even on this interview that he just did a few days ago, that AI 4 will be able to get 2 to 3 times safer than human, maybe 10x. It will be enough. You don't need to wait for AI 5. Okay. But the goal is, we're here, right? They're creating Robotaxi. They're creating a full self-driving. And the goal, though, is to not just replace ride-hailing. It's to replace personal transportation. And if you're able to do that, it's a big deal. Here's some stats here. Yunta Sai is an engineer for the Tesla AI team, building Robotaxi and humanoid bot brains. Interestingly, transportation is the second largest cost per U.S. household and 2 times more than healthcare. Autonomy vehicles will drastically reduce the cost of transportation, period. And here's the data that this Hunter guy shared. The average U.S. household spent their money in 2023. The average American household has 2.5 people and 1.9 vehicles. Food, transportation, housing combined 62.9% of spending. So if you take a look at this, housing, then you've got transportation. It's bigger than healthcare, okay? And let's see, it's even bigger than the food. That's interesting, right? How much money people spend on food. So it's a big deal. It's the second highest cost. And the question is, anyways, the point is, if this works, people spend a lot of money on cars and transportation. This will impact every household if this works. The question is whether or not Tesla's pricing is just temporary. We've been seeing this over and over and over again. People comparing the prices that Tesla's offering today in ride-hailing and Robotaxi in Austin versus Uber's, and it's always better and cheaper than Waymo, Uber, but it could be temporary. And I wanted to ask you if you think that's the case. This guy says Uber is dead. It's a fraction of the cost of a ride today. $19.90 is what they're charging, but it costs only $6.90 for the Robotaxi drive. This is the difference between that. And then
The
you've
real-
got,
yes.
this Tesla Robotaxi themselves posted this, $2.62 versus $12.94. This is the same guy, but he says 1/5 the price of Uber, right? If you decided to use Uber X for this 1.61 mile ride, it would have been $12, $13. But if you did the Robotaxi, $261. So people go, this is temporary pricing. Okay, don't get hooked up on it. But if Robotaxi themselves, Tesla's account themselves is promoting this, that it is cheaper. It sounds like that this is, and then, Jeff Lutz and others think that Tesla rarely does something that then like whatever they show you, let's say a prototype, that's what they build or better. If they show you a price now, they're going to sell it at that price or better. Not likely that they're going to bait and switch you later. That's, I don't know how real that is. But anyways, what's your thoughts on this?
I have never seen Tesla reduce a vehicle at a price lower than they unveiled it at. It's frequently the opposite. There are some exceptions where the Model 3 did eventually get down to its original release price, even without adjusting for inflation. Adjusting for inflation, it's much cheaper than it was promised to be. But for the most part, a lot of things come out overpriced. The difference between the Uber ride and the Robotaxi ride is that Robotaxi's losing money. We know because just the cost of having a safety hitchhiker is so much that it's going to outweigh it. It's not enough to cover just that person. So what will the price be? I don't think it's going to be that low. I don't think it needs to be a quarter of the price of Uber or Waymo. I don't think it needs to be half. I just think it needs to be even a bit cheaper. And as a shareholder, I don't want them throwing away money. I want them optimizing rides. And that means the price will continue to come down as the fleet expands, as there's more availability, as you're closer and closer to every pickup point that anyone could possibly initiate at any given time. It will work. But in terms of cost, there's a gentleman who runs a publication who I won't even bother naming, who is absolutely convinced that people like me and you and Cern Basher are dead wrong on everything we're saying about price because we don't understand. Now, he won't show his own numbers, and he apparently won't look at ours either. But let's just talk about the cost of the vehicle. If you're talking about a vehicle like Waymo proposes, a $50,000 to $80,000 vehicle plus the upfit, let's say they can get it down to 10 grand. At minimum, you're looking $100 grand for that vehicle. It's not going to get 200,000 miles. Now, there are some Waymos that do have over 150,000 miles, but the vast majority do not. And the only reason they keep them on the road is because it's cheaper to fix it than to outfit a whole new one. But that will change. They will. So if you've got $100,000 vehicle, you're only getting 150,000 miles out of it. If you've got a utilization rate of 66%, that means you're paying $1 a mile for that car. $1 a mile before anyone gets into it, before you clean it. You can't compete with that because Uber, Waymo, and Jaguar, Geely, Hyundai all want to be the one who makes the profit. You've got three parties trying to make a profit versus Tesla.
There's NVIDIA. There's the people that Hertz that will clean it. They partner with Hertz to do the management of it.
Yes. Yeah. Three major parties though. Whereas with a Tesla, you've got Tesla and maybe you or me. Two. And then the car is only 25 grand. As well, they'll never be able to produce it for that price. My friend, I have seen beneath the skin. I have talked to the engineers. I've talked to engineers critical of those engineers. They can make it for 25 grand. All in, out the door. For half of what Waymo is paying to transform a vehicle, they will build and deploy a vehicle. So what is it going to cost? If both companies are making the same dollars, the Tesla Robotaxi will always be cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like what you're saying. I hope that they do the same thing, which is they don't have to undercut it this much at this point. I think when they launch it completely, truly start offering it to everybody with enough cars, just $2 a mile. It's good enough. Just cheaper than what everyone else is doing. That's the most important thing. Eventually, though.
Yes. At $2 a mile, I would be annoyed, but it would still be cheaper than airport parking.
Oh, well, you and I both live in the Seattle area, which is the number one highest cost for Uber ride hail service. It's crazy how much it costs here. So, anyways, they just need to be better than Uber. Now, as they roll this out and as they get the cyber cabs out there, if they can get it to $1 or less a mile, that's when it becomes game changer. Becomes, people, instead of buying cars themselves, the second car, instead of buying that, we'll just use Tesla's Robotaxi once it's out there. So that's the ultimate goal. It's going to be, whereas there's no one else that can get there. Not Waymo, as you just explained, will ever get to that level.
And I agree with you on this. I appreciate your realism on the price. I don't think it needs, I've seen people saying it's going to be 18 cents a mile. And I'm saying, there's no money. Yeah. There's no money you could, perhaps that's Tesla's internal cost of operation in some markets where power is cheap. And it's no. That's not a realistic figure, but at $1, it's very realistic. And there are, I know Elon is of the belief that it appears that Elon is of the belief that overnight this will radically transform car ownership. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to take a generation, because there are people who want their own things. There are people who can afford their own things. He's of the belief that billionaires shouldn't live in mansions. It's like, well, but you're the only one who doesn't. So, because you don't need one, it'd be cheaper to just rent nice houses everywhere you go. That's true. That is absolutely true. Most people prefer to buy a house, but there will be a generational shift. We need a second car. Oh, mine's in the shop. What do I do? Just take a robotaxi for a week. You're going to have a new outlook on life. You're going to have a new perspective on what you should, well, my car's in the shop. It's going to be $800 to fix it. I don't have 800, but what I do have is 200. And I don't need to go 200 miles this week. Wait, am I even going to fix this car? Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just get rid of it and robotaxi
I think
around.
Though that it's, so right now people think it's ride hailing, right? So, I have to open up the app. I have to get a car to come pick me up. And then, tomorrow I got to go to the supermarket, open up the app. And that's not maybe what's the way it's going to work. It could be very well that you can buy a Tesla, finance it per month, and then have a monthly cost for this thing that is basically yours, but it's like, and then everyone you don't need it goes and does searches for you, but it's dedicated to you. So you really do kind of own it. I mean, there's ways that they can do this monthly subscription, basically is what this is, right? For your regular use and for your use.
Yes. And there are, you and I know people who have 10, 20, 100 cars out on Turo that would much prefer this if it's more profitable. If it's more profitable, convert whatever part of your fleet is already Tesla into that today and start replacing the cars one by one with Teslas. So I think we'll have to wait and see how that business case plays out. But to me, the idea of being able to have transportation anywhere I go all the time without having to worry about, is my insurance rate going to go up next month? Is someone going to
service
sideswipe me in a parking lot or T-bone me at a light, and then I've got to deal with all that headache? No, the headache is you get out and you get in a different one.
Yeah. So the thing that I've been talking about the last several months now is, okay, we know, you and I at least, a bunch of people are starting to become more aware that autonomy is real. This isn't a future dream anymore, as it was 6 months ago, a year ago. Yeah, it is real. It's, we can see it happening in front of our eyes. You and I driving the cars ourselves that are self-driving already. But why isn't it that we have not actually heard enough automakers announce and share at least their version of a purpose-built robotaxi car, like a car that they've done, a vehicle that they've done built specifically for. And the two that we're aware of here in the US is Tesla, with the upcoming Cybercab that's in production now, that we're going to start actually seeing roll off the production line, if not the end of this year, next year. Then you've got a few in China, but we've got Zoox. That's it.
Gadzooks. Yes,
Gadzooks. We got Zoox. And they just went public, which is great. So I'm a big fan of theirs. I've been telling people I kind of like their idea of their, what they've done. And they're out there. So I just want to, we'll watch a video of Sawyer Merritt taking one of these in Las Vegas for the first time. They just announced their public rides in Vegas. So, this idea of autonomous driving, we're seeing the beginnings of it. You got Tesla, you got Waymo, You got a bunch of other small pilots going on, and now you got a small pilot here, of Zoox. So hopefully they do it. They started offering public rides in Las Vegas. They're not charging a fare, so this is their introductory pricing. They've opened a wait list in San Francisco, and it's got no wheels and no steering wheels and no pedals. So Sawyer Merritt took this ride. It's owned by Amazon. And he took a 7.6 mile ride, 25 mile loop along the Las Vegas Strip and back. They use cameras, they use LiDARs, radar, long wave infrared sensors. Their test vehicles build 3D maps of the city. This vehicle has 4-wheel steering and has no front or back, so it can go in any direction. Good experience. I'd like to see seat comfort improve. Too firm and ergonomics weren't great. This was just a test vehicle. Interesting interaction with a semi-truck on the side of the road, but the rest of the ride went well. So let's watch his video. I'm not going to watch all of it, but we'll watch just a little bit of it.
I'm so short. All right, trying out the Zoox Robotaxi. We got the screen here. Do have AC. We got cup holders here. Got a couple of wireless chargers there. And there are screens on either side of seats. There's the roof. And yeah, let's close the doors, eh? So we press this to start. So it's a 23-minute ride, and it's a free ride. So that they're done at Resorts World Hotel in Las Vegas, and they take you essentially just around the entire strip. There's no stops you can do. You just have to take the whole ride all the way around back to the hotel, Resorts World Hotel. And you can control the climate here, go up or down in temp, turn up the AC. You can control the music, top charts it looks like, and yeah, pretty wild. No driver. Looks like you got some lights, an emergency button there. The seats are a little firm, and not much lumbar support, and the headrests are a little bit too protruded forward, I find, so you can't really, your neck's a little leaning forward too much. But this is pretty wild to be riding in a driverless car on the Vegas Strip.
Okay. I like that, right?
I love it.
There's
The future
no
should look
front,
like the future.
No front, no back, no steering wheel. It's lots of room. You walk in through it, kind of these elevator doors. Yes, it's got the stupid LiDAR thing still there, but end of the day, I thought that that's a perfect example of what a robotaxi first design vehicle is. Now, of course, I think that the seats were designed that way for easier cleaning, which is again good thinking. But yeah, you got to be comfortable. But lots of room and, big screens. And I like the interaction that you had to do with it. Now, the music you listen to is music, but it's not yours. You're not hooked up to you, which is what, Tesla can do. But at least they built something from the ground up thinking, what should a robotaxi ride look like? It's not a car. Waymos are cars. You take a car, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to outfit a bunch of stuff to it, and that's the robotaxi ride. It doesn't make sense.
The car that Waymo starts with is good at 100 things, and only 10 of them are relevant to a driverless vehicle. Yeah. And you're paying for all 90 of those things that the car will never do for you. The Zoox, I like it for a bunch of, I don't have a problem with the LiDAR. I don't hate LiDAR. If that's a solution you think that works, then, I guess go for it. But what I have a problem with is people who say it's the only path. It is the silver bullet. Guys, I saw a video earlier today of a Waymo stuck in a pedestrian-only sidewalk. You got HD maps and you're still doing that? There are no silver bullets. So And on the Zoox, yeah, free is not going to be the final price. It'll have a final price. And I agree with you. The seat comfort, that's all about utility and ease of cleaning. Maybe they can figure something out that's a little easier in the future. Lack of lumbar support, maybe they can work on that. And the protruding headrest, I suspect that's because it's omnidirectional. There is no front or back, and they need to go a little extra on the safety in case of a front end collision. So I
Do you
think
know
that
why? Yeah. Do you know why I think they did this? Is because this is just for short rides around Las Vegas, short loops. This is not meant for you to take for, an hour-long drive wherever that you could take a robotaxi. This is meant to be just a quick, like a bus ride, right? You get into a bus, you don't care so much that the seats are very hard.
Very hard.
They almost are, and I think that's what this is. And I think that's the future for Zoox is going to be little resort, short loops around the Disneyland kind of rides all over the cities, but it's not, I can't, they have not proven in any way that they can do any point A to any point B because they are LiDAR based and they don't have any brains. There's no AI here. That's what matters is this, do you have vision cameras that actually has neural nets that actually understand the context of what they're seeing? This is basically on rails. It can go around and not hit anything if something darts in front of it. That's basically what they've done. I'm hopefully not, maybe I'm being too critical, but
I will tell you that their infotainment future is bright because I suspect that the infotainment will be linked to your Amazon account and anything you've ever purchased in Prime can be played. And if it can't, you can buy it right now. And I think that could be a big additional revenue stream for Amazon.
In Las Vegas, imagine the marketing that they would do in cabin, camera in the cabin, and maybe it could be free because they can charge you, right? We'll see where that goes. But that's fun. I mean, this is the point, right? Zoox is out. They're already making, they're first out there, Robotaxi first. Waymo's out there. They're making Robotaxi rides, but they're not Robotaxi first vehicles.
And I have seen the Zoox vehicle. I did a video on it last year at CES. They had one on display. We could climb into it. We got a full demo of it doing everything except moving because, you're inside of a building. It looks great. I think it checks a lot of boxes. I don't think Robotaxi and Zoox are going to necessarily compete in the same, it won't be a perfect overlap of competition.
Yeah, agree with you. Okay, we'll keep following this, but every time we're seeing progress. This is launched. Tesla's launched, and he's promising FSD 14 is going to be 2 to 3 times safer than a human already. We'll see if that comes out true. We'll follow it. Follow Brian on his FutureAza channel. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, Brian. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.